C.O.P.S, Central Organization of Police Specialists. Fighting crime in a future time. Protecting Empire City from Big Boss and his gang of crooks.
Alright, hey guys, and welcome back, as this week I'm taking a look at the C.O.P.S line of toys made by Hasbro in 1988. C.O.P.S was originally released as an animated series in 1988 by Deke Animation, and the show was based on Hasbro's pre-existing line of action figures called C.O.P.S and Crooks, but was released under the C.O.P.S name. The show centered around the C.O.P.S organization, short for Central Organization of Police Specialists, set in the future of 2020 in Empire City, fighting Big Boss and his group of gangsters looking to take over Empire City for themselves. To paraphrase, fighting crime in a future time. The main team of C.O.P.S consists of Bulletproof, the leader of the team, so named because of his bulletproof cybernetic body. Long Arm, known for his extending handcuffs to make sure no criminal can escape the long arm of the law. Hardtop, a rookie cop who is the driver of the C.O.P.S indestructible Ironsides vehicle. Highway, the team's expert cycle trooper. Bowser and Blitz, he is the team's canine officer and is the handler for Blitz, a robotic dog who is great at tracking down crooks. Sergeant Colt Mace Howard, a tactical expert and former SWAT officer, he uses his heavy laser, Mazooka, when the going gets tough. And Mainframe, she is the team's computer specialist and communications expert. Then we have the nefarious Crooks. Big Boss, the leader of the crime syndicate in Empire City, he literally has an iron fist and is always a step ahead of the cops. Berserko, Big Boss's nephew, who is more brawn than brains. His methods are seen as crazy, yet somehow effective. Rock Crusher, a super strong thug who uses a jackhammer to crack open bank vaults or anything else that gets in his way. Buttons McBoom Boom, he may have a silly name, but he's no joke. Under his expensive suit is a fully automatic cybernetic Thompson submachine gun. Dr. Bad Vibes, a brilliant scientist, or at least in his own warped mind. His maniacal robotic creations all come from his demented brain, which is under protective glass for everyone to see. Nightshade, originally born into a wealthy family, she was disowned and started a life of crime, becoming an expert lockpick and jewel thief. Misdemeanor, don't let her appearance fool you. She might look like a normal businesswoman, but she has super strength and can outmuscle anyone who gets in her way. The show was very successful, even though only airing for one season with 65 episodes in total. Hasbro's original toy line of C.O.P.S and Crooks was now rebranded as C.O.P.S and sold very well.
The case of the big bank job. Big Boss and his gang of crooks were escaping in the Roadster, but hot on the tail was Officer Highway on that cop cycle, and he wasn't letting this bunch of crooks get away. C.O.P.S and Crooks, vehicles and figures sold separately, with caps.
Their main gimmick being that the figures and vehicles came with rolls of caps to make the crime-fighting action more exciting. The show was finally canceled in early 1989, but the action figures would still be on shelves for years to come. In 1993, the show would again be put back into syndication, with episodes also being re-released on VHS. Eventually, however, enthusiasm for the series would fade out and finally be canceled in 1995, with this group of C.O.P.S enjoying a much-deserved retirement.
Alright, now let's take a look at some of the 1988 Hasbro C.O.P.S, or otherwise known as C.O.P.S and Crooks action figures that I have in my collection. Now, I only have these three here, and that's with some good reason. The line did sell pretty well, you know, when it was released in 1988, 1989, 1990, even into the early 90s when it got re-released again in 1993. But it didn't sell that well. So these figures, they're kind of in short supply. There's not a lot out there. And as such, it can be hard to find them complete. And when you do find them complete, or even incomplete at all, really, they can be really expensive because these figures are very, very, very sought after. So anyway, let's get started. Let's take a look at the three figures that I have here. And of course, we'll start things off with taking a look at the Big Boss himself. Now, this is probably my favorite figure, mainly for a couple of reasons, because number one, he's my most complete figure that I have, but I also just like the overall look of the figure. It's kind of strange. You can tell that the cartoon was adapted after the figures, because when you look at the faces of the figures, they're much different from the cartoon. I mean, you can still tell this is Big Boss, but you can tell when Hasbro was doing their Cops and Crooks line, they hadn't really thought of doing an animated cartoon yet because there's so much realism in the face. I mean, of course, with their other accessories and the way they look, they're not really realistic, but they were definitely going for a different theme than what Deke Animation ended up producing. I think it's rather odd on his suit here. He has like a cop's officer badge as buttons. So it's kind of like he's mocking the cops, which I think that's kind of neat. I don't know why that's there. It's not really explained in the show or anywhere else, but kind of neat. I guess maybe it's just for branding, for a logo or whatever. Again, with the face, really, really odd, super wrinkly. Just looks like a mob boss or something you'd see out of like a mob movie or something. It just looks more like a Dick Tracy figure with that face than the cartoon images that you end up seeing in the show. I like the color scheme, and I really like the overall look of the figure. He really reminds me of the Kingpin, which I'm surprised that Hasbro didn't actually get into any legal trouble with that because of copyright infringement, because he just looks so much like the Kingpin, it's ridiculous. Aside from the metallic hand, which of course that's his main feature here, his iron fist, so to speak, that he rules the crime underworld of Empire City with an iron fist. There's a lot of really good articulation going on here, to where you can, you can move the arms and the hand in so many different ways that you can't normally with other figures. I mean, like right here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have like almost 5 points of articulation, 6 if you count the wrist, just in the arm alone. Because you can move it here at the shoulder. You can move it at, the elbow. You can bend it at the elbow. And then you can still rotate that, and you can still rotate the fist. So that's a lot of articulation for these figures. And it kind of reminds me a lot of the very early, like 1982, 83 Joes, where they had that super articulation going on in the hands and stuff like that. You have his other rings here on his other hand, which I think is cool. Kind of really makes him look like a Don. You gotta kiss the ring to the crime boss, to the big boss. And that's pretty much it. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't have any of his other accessories, but I like his color scheme. It looks really neat. It can be a little hard to stand because his feet are so small and stumpy, but other than that, pretty cool. Now let's take a look at my next favorite figure, and that is going to be Blitz. And now I used to always get this guy confused because he always reminds me like of something that would fit into the Police Academy universe, and I always forget that he's actually a part of the Cops universe. Now, unfortunately, he's got a little bit of damage. He's missing the lower half of his jaw. I guess that just kind of fell off or broke off along the way. He would have had some type of an accessory, a weapon that would have gone on the side there. But I really like the detailing. You can see where it says police on the top there. You still get a good look at his face. He's got a little monitor on the side there and a little camera for a tail, which is funny. And then he has this little dial under here which you can turn, and that rotates his little police light, telling cops at Crooks that he's in pursuit and for them to stop their criminal activities. So he's really cool and a neat addition to my figures. Unfortunately, I don't have Bowser, his handler, with him, but very cool all the same. And then, of course, another favorite figure. It's a shame that he's not in better shape, but this is Buttons McBoom Boom, which is the most ridiculous name for any action figure I've ever heard in my life. And now he's really sought after, and I can probably take a guess as to what happened to this guy. I really doubt that he just kind of, broke and was damaged over the years. It looks like he was probably used for parts. He only has one of his little Thompson submachine guns that should be spring-loaded, but that is not working at the moment. And, you have the part of his suit that would open up, and then they would drop down. He's missing the hat. And again, you can see with the face how that looks absolutely nothing like the cartoon. This is like, you know, a totally serious, like, real-world person face. It's just so bizarre from what you see in the cartoon. And I know these pieces go missing a lot, especially on the chest and stuff, so this is probably, you know, one somebody just got for parts. And then you have, you know, what is left here, which makes it difficult to now complete the figure. But again, I think he's a really cool-looking figure. I always thought his suit looked kind of funny. It's definitely fancy, but he's got, like, these puffy kind of MC Hammer style pants and the collar that comes up. He's missing the hat and everything. He's got the shoulder pads, which that's really weird and bizarre. I don't know why he would need shoulder pads. You can see his cybernetics inside, where he's, you know, been retrofitted with his machine guns, which I think is really cool. And overall, a really nice figure, some really great articulation once again, and probably the most sought-after figure, I would say, in the entire series. So if he was complete, he would be worth quite a bit. Alright, anyway guys, that is going to do it for my look at the C.O.P.S or C.O.P.S and Crooks series of action figures, as well as the cartoon made by Hasbro in 1988. Hope you guys enjoyed taking a look at them with me today. Let me know, was this a series that you enjoyed watching back in the day? Did you collect any of the figures? And just what did you think of it overall? Anyway guys, I will see you next time. Take care.
Hey guys, if you liked the video that you just watched, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below, and you can follow me at Facebook at King of Retro or Twitter at #8ByteBrian. See you next time!